Well, good evening, one and all, and welcome to the Studio Rats Q&A live.
Got a good button.
That's a good button, isn't it? My name's James Ivy.
I was a Paulie Drew.
And we are here for your delectation and delight once more.
Watching what?
Delectation and delight. No one's listening yet. That's the weird thing about this thing. You never know who's going to log in.
Ourselves.
We are nothing new there then. So, what have you been up to, buddy? How has your week? How has your week of COVIDness been?
It's been rubbish, isn't it? It's absolutely rubbish.
It's not good, is it?
No, I get this. Like, I think I need to stop now for Christmas. I just need to stop. But you know, the thing about when you make videos for your living is you think of a break. You think coming up for a break, you've got that time before you stop. It's like the bit where you've got to work especially hard to build up more content so you can have that break.
Yeah.
Nightmare. So, I mean, I don't even know what do people, because, because you used to work for, well, we both did, but, you more permanently, used to work for some, another, and how much work did you have to do before Christmas?
A ton more than usual.
Right.
Saying that, it is a bit like that now, where I have a certain number of days where I work for certain companies.
Yeah.
They still expect, they don't care that I'm, I've got 3 lots of companies stuff to fit in a month, and actually in 22 days around Christmas. I've still got to do X number of days for A, X number of days for B, and X number of days for C. They don't care how I do it. It's just they want it done. So yeah. I'm out here till 10, 11 o'clock most nights at the moment, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, it's a bit crazy at the moment. But I'm looking forward to. I think I actually finish next Tuesday because of childcare and stuff. I'm working Monday. I'm then done till after Christmas, which is great.
Oh, nice one. When are you coming back?
I might, depending on how I do in the next couple of days, I might come back for one of the Crimbo Limbo days. I might do a couple of days down here.
That's good.
Just because, quite frankly, it ain't like we're going anywhere at the moment. We're not going to see family.
You're not doing a gig on New Year's Eve?
No, funnily enough, no New Year's Eve gigs this year.
This will be the first New Year's off for me for like, I don't know how long.
I haven't done a New Year's Eve gig in 3 years, but before that, since we had the kids, I haven't done many gigs at all. Yeah. But before that, I don't think I'd had a New Year's off in probably 25, if not 28, 9 years.
Yeah. It's like that.
That's a complete lie. I had Millennium Eve off.
Oh, I did as well. So that was my last one off. So what's that? That's 20 years ago.
Because the reason I had that one off is because I was approached to put a big band together for that night.
Right.
For a huge corporate bash.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, but this is deposit territory, and I'm gonna have to pay players in advance, and the level of players you want, I'm gonna have to pay good deposits to keep them.
It's like jazz musicians.
Yes.
But surely like 20 quid will do them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they wanted like top end.
Oh no, it's double. It's double for music, like 40 quid.
Yeah. So basically, I gave people like a £200 deposit to book them for New Year's Eve.
Right.
And I think I took like 1,000 quid because I was going to MD it and do other bits and pieces. And the gig was cancelled. And I went, that deposit was non-refundable. And they went, yeah, told everyone. They all got other gigs and I had a night off.
Oh, nice one. Still got paid.
Yeah.
David and 2 Daves are in. All right, Dave and Dave. How's it going, guys?
Evening, chaps. There are 6 of you out there. We want to find out who those other 4 people are. I'm not one of them because my phone's playing up, so I couldn't get online. But it's great to have you with us. Should we start some kind of official?
Well, hold on a second. Before we do, you were going to tell me a joke, and I said no, just hold that joke until we're out. So I love the way he's laughing. I love the way you're laughing before you tell the joke, and you know that I'm not going to laugh. It's just going to be like one of those.
You are going to laugh because this is sort of joke.
Unless it's rude.
Alan in the house. all the way from Canada or actually Scotland via Canada, or is it Canada via Scotland these days? Good evening, sir. Great to have you with us. Okay, so what is the difference? This is the joke that's still making me smile. What's the difference between a jazz guitarist and a rock guitarist?
Go on.
A rock guitarist plays 3 chords to 10,000 people.
So true. So true. I have to work that out. Yeah, see, I laughed. It didn't have any swear words, and there wasn't any nudity in it, and I still laughed, which is amazing.
Oh dear, excuse me. So hope that's started us off in a good way.
Right, Steve.
Evening, Steve. Right, so I thought of something to get us started tonight, just
and
for a laugh.
Hank's in the house, and low fat. Hank and low fat are in as well.
Awesome stuff. I thought of one to get us started tonight, and this has come round because I've just been looking through the Christmas TV listings. You know, a la, you know, what we used to do when we were kids with a highlighter pen and the Radio Times and a VHS cassette. Yeah. I've just had a flick through, and one of my, probably as a kid, my second favorite film of all time is on telly, and I'm so excited to Sky Plus it these days.
How old's the film? I've got to guess it.
Oh, it came out in 1979.
It's got to be some Star Wars business, isn't it?
It's you're very close.
Okay.
You're very, very close.
Go on then.
Buck Rogers in the 25th Century.
I thought Buck Rogers was a series.
It started off as a feature-length pilot and then became a series. It was a film first. Just amazing. So,
biggie.
Indeed. What's up, Buck? So what I thought we'd do is talk a bit about guilty pleasures.
Right.
And we want to hear your guilty pleasures out there as well. So I want to hear your musical guilty pleasure, your gear guilty pleasure, and your cultural guilty pleasure.
What do you mean by cultural?
Well, as in the film you like that's not trendy to like, or, you know, my Buck Rogers thing or something like that.
It's supposed to be a music show. I
know, but I just thought it was funny. You know,
okay.
You didn't give me anything, and you're sitting there stuffing your face with a Cox's orange pippin.
It's not. It's a jazz, actually.
So you do like jazz. And we want to hear your
jazz I like, huh?
We want to hear your guilty pleasures as well. So put in. I'll start. I will happily start.
Go on.
So musically, jazz is definitely my guilty pleasure. Big band jazz is. I started playing when I first played drums. My first gig was with a big band.
I'm amazing. Brilliant.
Excellent. I love big band jazz, and I tell you what, if the Buddy Rich Band would have me, if I won the lottery, I would get on the phone to Al and Steve, and I'd book Capital, and I'd get who's their arranger friend, their musical director friend, German chap, whose name totally escapes me now. Chris, I want to say. The guy who was in the film with, anyway, I've forgotten his name. Chris Walden.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I would get Chris Walden to find me all the top London, all the top LA session guys. I'd fly over and I'd get to play drums with this uber band and make an album for a couple of weeks with those guys. That would just be my idea of heaven.
Nice.
Play some proper, serious swinging Sammy Nestico charts or something like that would be an absolute. So when I win the lottery, that's what's going to happen. I'm going to do that. What's yours? What's your musical guilty pleasure?
That's really good. Well, probably pop music. But that is a bit of a guilty pleasure. But
because you like this. I mean, obviously you've got to like the stuff you write. You just have, but you know it's. You were in the pop world primarily, aren't you?
Yeah,
you're not.
I think yeah, that was my thing. So yeah, so I grew up wanting to be like some you know, I used to love all that stuff that you love now, like all the Steve Vai and all that sort of stuff. But and then I realized I wanted to make money out of music, and so I started writing pop, and not sort of cheesy pop, not sort of like, you know, what's it called? Frog. What's the frog thing?
The frog thing.
Yeah, not frog. What's the frog? Crazy Frog. Not like Crazy Frog, anything like that. You know, I like, oh no, this is going to be such a guilty pleasure. Do you know what I really like? And every time it comes on, I just go, oh, that's really good, because it's really well written, because it's, oh man, we're going to lose people now. Backstreet Boys. Boys. Damn.
Do you know what? It's so, the Backstreet Boys stuff is all about the big riff, and it bum, bum, yeah, the big power riff.
I always for the time.
I always think you can. I'm not a big fan of Rihanna, for example.
Matt's in the house.
Matt Boudreau has joined us. I mean, we you know,
royalty.
Greatness has come amongst us. I love people like Rihanna and Pink, who I might not necessarily like their studio production, but when they go out live on tour, it's a rock show. I mean, Rihanna's guitarist is Nuno Betancourt.
I mean, can't get any better than that, can you?
It doesn't get much better than that. Pink's live show is basically a rock show. It's it's awesome.
Who's Pink's guitar? Pink's guitar player's like the big guy as well. What's his name?
I can't remember who it's not. No,
Justin something. Oh, what's his name? He's amazing. Just like they pick all like the best.
Yeah.
I mean, they would, wouldn't they?
Amazing. Yeah, because they can. It's scary that it goes from being pop music, it goes to being a proper full-on rock show. I mean, even some of the dance stuff I'm not. Things like, what's it? Don't you worry, child. Don't you worry, child. Is it?
Yeah.
That live.
Oh, that's killer tune. That is a tune.
Is a proper rock anthem when they go for it live. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's an absolute tune. That is. Yeah, really good.
Okay, so Gear, guilty pleasure. And I'm gonna.
Is this something that is it? When you say guilty pleasure, do you mean like something that I'm embarrassed about? Something that I wouldn't admit to someone?
Something that you go, I love this thing. I know it's not trendy. I know it's not cool, and I'm probably embarrassed about it. But
do you know, God, I'm really gonna have to struggle, because
you don't have to own it. You could just love it.
Ah, okay. Can I have a think? Can you go and then I'll have a think about that?
Well, I've got two. One is my JCM 900, my Marshall Tuba 12. It's It's trendy to like the 800. The 900's always been the kind of the early 90s sad younger brother.
I disagree. Well, the 800 was like that. The 800 you couldn't give away. Yeah, you couldn't give them away, and it becomes, I don't know, you know, it reaches a certain year and then they stop making something, and then, you know, maybe some guy that used to own one who's now a lawyer, you know, like a bunch of guys buy them, the prices go up. It's like that. I mean, you know, the 800 was nothing special. It was nothing special, and it's just become the 900 will be, you know, give it 5-10 years, the 900 will be up there.
But the 900 was the amp I wanted as a well, I still had to rely on parents for lifts for gigs, doing gigs. So I must have been
just what is the difference between an 800 and 900? This is a JCM, just in case you guys are wondering what we're talking about. JCM 800, classic sort of 80s.
It's the sound of 80s rock versus the sound of 90s rock, almost, isn't it?
Alan will love it with Iron Maiden. I'm sure that was 800. 90s. So 90s was Are you sure? I thought it was like late 80s. It came.
There was a lot more control over a 900. Had a lot proper channel switching, proper gain, 2 different gain stages. It was a proper. There was 2 versions. There was the high gain. There was the high gain master volume, and then there was the dual gain, dual reverb. and I always wanted the dual gain, dual reverb, because you could have a super clean sound, or you could juice the clean channel up to be the level of distortion that you like, that kind of gentle breakup.
Oh, nice.
Then you can put a pedal in front of it, and that's the one I've got. It's a sweet amp. I love it. And Gary Moore used one for a while, which was enough for me to go.
Say no more.
It's funny, my guitar guilty pleasure, and this is going to make me really uncool.
What? No, there's no way you could be uncool, James. There's nothing.
My guitar guilty pleasure is a Parker Fly.
I do you know what? I used to work in a music shop in Streatham. Everyone knows
Big Sounds. Everyone knows Big Sounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they got one of the first Parker Flies, but the proper ones with the graphite ones.
Yep.
That thing was amazing. It looked it looked stupid,
but they played so well.
So good. Oh, right. You're triggering off all sort of things now. Yeah. Right. Okay. So go on.
But it's not cool to like a Parker Fly.
I'm not sure. I think things have changed now. I think over the last sort of 5 years, like shredding guitars come back, and 80s guitars are back. And yeah, you're right actually. I've got this vision now of this advert that keeps coming up on Facebook, of this guy doing this sort of classical metal.
Oh, stuff. The classical shredding guy.
And it's like, oh yeah, it's amazing. Well done, mate, and all that. But you're not going to get a girlfriend playing that, are you? Do you know what I mean?
Wing bait.
It is just a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much. Okay, so guilty pleasure amp.
Yeah.
Although it's not, because I really rate it, is a rectifier.
Yeah.
But not done in a sort of metal sort of way, because you can get so much out of it. Really versatile amp. And guilty pleasure, and I wish I still had one, was a Steinberger. I had two of them.
Wow.
We've got some people.
Oh, they're coming in now. Dave Lewis.
Okay, come on, Dave.
Lewis coming in with some stuff. Trading fours with guitar. I like that though. That's very jazz. Trading fours.
Trading fours with guitar leads. Do
you know that phrase, Paul? Surely you know that phrase.
Is it just 4 bars?
So you do 4 bars of solo on guitar, then you have 4 bars of drum solo, then 4 bars of sax solo, then 4 bars of drum solo around a head.
That sounds like I would hate that. I would absolutely hate that. Especially, you said the word drum solo, and my heckles went up. Everything. No.
Oh, actually, now that's a really good shout as well, Dave. I'm jumping down a few here. Mexican Strat or the EVH Wolfgang.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's go through.
I know, but I just saw that and it sort of jumped out at me, and I went, "Yeah, the Wolfgangs were great, dirt cheap as well."
So Dave said, "Fett guitar preamps, overdrives, HRM, NOS. What's an HRM?
I didn't know. I skipped over because I didn't want to look like I didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah, Dave, explain that. Give me some Fett guitar preamps that you like. If you're talking like something like a Rocktron Pro Gap or something like that, maybe he's talking about that. Yeah, I'd love to know what that is. David letter B says, musically, my guilty pleasure is a modern fusion prog players. Jacob Zatecki is the perfect example and the perfect music for me. Crazy technical playing while being easy to listen as pop music. Oh, interesting. That sounds like your sort of thing. Yeah, that sounds like James's sort of thing. Dave Lewis, other guilty pleasures, Mexican Strat, EVH Walker. I've never played a Wolfgang.
I worked with a guy at Butlins who he had 2 or 3, and they were not the expensive ones. I think they're either Korean or Japanese. Like really good guitars, but not much money. Yeah, the PV Wolfgangs, not that much money.
With the drop D, with the drop D Floyd on it.
Yeah.
I had an EVH super. Like, no, it wasn't even a super Strat. I had one of his EVH, just single humbucker, like a Frankenstrat.
Yeah,
and that thing sounded amazing, and that was a Korean thing. I just bought it because it was so dirt cheap. It was like, like guitar were just knocking them out. I went, I'll have that. So look, where are we? Mexican Strat. Exactly. A guilty pleasure for me.
I'm loving that.
Rototoms. I forgot, Matt. I forgot you were a drummer.
Rototoms, and the thing I would love Sonor to make for that kit, but I don't think they can do it in timber. I think it has to be fiberglass. I'd love them to make some octobans for that kit.
The ones? Is that the ones that just basically sound like an 808? So
but yay long. Well, about depending on they come in different lengths, about that diameter. Simon Phillips always has 4.
I'm not surprised.
No, I'd love to set up octobans. I'd like to get some more drums for that kit, but
what's that stupid drum kit that looks like a pair of trousers?
Oh, the
it goes so that it sticks out. It's like a stupid thing.
Well, I think they're called staccato or something like that.
That is, see, I can imagine you playing some of them.
No, I've tried them, and it's so weird. The sound goes. It's really weird.
That sounds like who would ever want that in a studio?
The tom sound is horrendous.
Oh no, that's not good.
Dear.
Dave Lewis said, "Hot rodded Marshall." Nice.
I'd go with that.
Actually, we should do that as a video.
Some of these aren't guilty. These are fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. We should do that as a video. You should bring your 900 over.
Yeah,
because they're same sort of era, I guess. No, actually, no. The rectifiers is probably
a bit later.
A little bit late. But we should compare them. See what.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Hank says a really good music pleasure. Michael Cimbello, Automatic Man music video, notwithstanding. I don't know that.
I'm gonna have to check all this out. Yeah, because there's some good. We're hearing some interesting stuff.
We're getting some. Dave Lewis, 2 Rock. What? As in like 2 Rock amps? How's that guilty pleasure?
Aren't they about 50 million quid?
Yeah, they're quite expensive. Yeah, well, they're not that much, but they're pretty expensive.
They're not cheap, are they?
No, and really nice as well. Really nice. They're like basically like Dumble.
They look Are they the ones where they make them all kind of sculpted and padded, and they look really weird?
I wouldn't say sculpted. They're I'd say padded, and sometimes they do them in leather, and like you can get boogies in leather and stuff.
Right, really odd. I was actually looking the other day at scratching an itch, quite a serious guitar itch, and my next amp. There's 2 more amps I want in the world. One is a real SLO 100 Soldano,
right,
and I want a high watt, the Gilmour Signature 100 watt.
You missed out on that.
I know I did, and I'm going to kick myself for quite a long time.
But you know, I think it's quite a clean amp.
Yeah, you put lots of stuff in front of it, and
yeah.
But yeah, I really fancy something like that because I love that sound. I love that sound. I know it's all in his fingers, and I'm never going to sound like that, but I can dream and try and get close.
HRM, Hot Rodded Marshall or Hot Rubber Monkey?
I think the Hot Rubber Monkey is the guilty pleasure there.
What's your other question? So we've got that Steinbergers,
okay. Steinbergers. Any kind of like studio gear that you go, I always use this. If you could, if you were the sort of engineer who gets to put together a shopping list before you turn up at a studio, what's the piece of gear that you have to have when you arrive that everyone else is going to go, what the heck?
Oh, okay. So you're not asking what I would take to a session.
No. So if when you book a session at Abbey Road, say, pick your studio, and they ask you what gear you need, what's the piece of gear they're going to look down your list and go, what the hell is that on there for?
Hey, you know what?
Casti's a given. What's the Uber? The Fairchild is a given, all that sort of stuff. But what's the thing that you have that you want on that list that everyone's going to go, what the hell is he going to use that for?
Well, only because I dealt with it recently because I had to mix a track that had it on. So Jack Rubinacci gave me a track to mix that was it was produced some time ago at Real World by Chad Blake. And when Chad was recording this album, his instead of having an overhead, he had the binaural Neumann head.
Yep.
Okay, that sounds brilliant. By the way, so that's the first time I've mixed one of them.
I've also mixed a Neumann head, also recorded in that room, because the track I had to mix was recorded at Real World.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And the other one was obviously because Chad Blake's a bit he loves sort of crazy sort of sounds and stuff. Was I don't know exactly what it was, but it was called Digimic, and basically it sounds like it's stuck a SM57 in a didgeridoo and stuck it on, just going doing, doing, doing. It's like this, like the resonance that came up the didgeridoo. It's amazing.
It sounds like something Sylvia Massey would do.
Yes, it does. With her like hose pipe and stuff.
Yes, mics and hose pipes and things. There was a great video doing the rounds on Facebook of a guy playing saxophone into a mains drain pipe. And when I say mains, I mean one of those sort of like 6 foot across.
Oh right. Oh yes, I've seen that. Yeah.
And the sound of it was absolutely incredible.
Yes, it was really good. But he was a great player, though, wasn't he?
He was a great player, which helped. But the tone that came from it was absolutely amazing.
David said, not trying to be that guy, but actually my most recent guilty pleasure is watching the Studio Rats. Thanks, mate. The channel is like candy to me. So neat. Just the logo itself is perfect. Plus context is at level. Thanks, mate. That's much appreciated. Glad we help.
Yeah.
Mike Pinion says that his guilty pleasure is being able and willing to still be interested in all this stuff.
We are very lucky that we get to chat about this sort of stuff. Actually, Matt,
Matt sent a link. I'm going to look at that. Just give me 2 seconds.
Did mix with the masters with Chad Blake as well.
Oh, awesome!
Because yes, we've chatted about this, and I have 3 more mix with the masters that I'd like to do, of which Chad is one of them, because of the whole saturation and overdrive and kind of distortion techniques that he uses to get his tones. I'd like to do Andrew Sheps for the whole parallel and EQ and understanding of how he uses parallel processing, and I'd like to do Greg. What's his name? Greg Wells. Yes.
Greg Wells. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because his session is all about, basically, we start with nothing, and by the end of it, we've got a fully mixed, produced track, and either he's played on it or the participants on the course have played on it. I love the idea of that, because that's exactly how I work. It's all about, at the end of the day, it's all about me and stuff the lot of you. Matt
sent a link to Chad's thing, which is I clicked on the link, and it's a Hughes and Kettner, I guess. Right. Hughes AK.
Yep.
I don't know, what is it? Is that Hughes AK100 sound retrieval system spatial enhancer? What is that?
I now feel I have to put that
stereo widener for room sounds and reverbs. Oh wow! I love things like that. I love like cheap old bits of gear that like. Oh, look at that! How did Matt do that? Look at this.
No, I did that.
Did you? Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to be even more impressed if Matt did it.
Yeah, I did that. I put that there. I didn't think Matt would mind, because there you go. There's the link to share to that particular piece of kit.
Oh, awesome!
I didn't know it was going to do that, but I feel quite good about it.
Hey, if that was but now everyone's going to look at that and bugger off.
No, but they can't do it. Only we can do it.
Oh, okay. I love stuff like that. If that was in the UK, I'd buy that. I love like sort of cheap bits of studio gear that are just like, sort of really, just change things, change the sound of things.
See, mine is a real, it's a bit of a 90s blast from the past. And I don't think Michael's with us this evening, but I, back in about 1990 something, early 90s, was working at a music show when there used to be trade shows, a much smaller event in the UK. I think it was either London Music Show or Music Live or one of those sort of things. And it was when there used to be a trade show area, and all the sort of the bigger music shops would have their stall set up. It was before one music retailer was allowed to dominate the show. It was all about basically going from booth to booth to get the best price. And Alesis had just bought out the Wedge reverb. It looked like a poor man's Lexicon Lark.
Yeah.
And that's why I liked it. But the cool thing about it was a genuine stereo in, stereo out reverb.
Yeah.
And it was about 250 quid, and I had one. And I loved it. I used it on everything. I really, really liked it. And cut a long story short, and several girlfriends and moves of house later, I didn't have it anymore. And I was talking to Michael about this thing, and he said, I used to work for Alesis. I've got one if you want it. You'll have to find a UK power supply. But I was like, that can't be that difficult on eBay. So he gave me a Wedge, and I've still got it up here, and I use it on every session.
Excellent. Yeah, don't you find that, like, with, there was a time when like an SPX 90 was, like, you're not gonna, don't even turn that thing on, and then now it's cool again, and same with the 900 and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's cyclic, isn't it? It does go around. So out there in internet land, if you've got any questions for us or anything we can help you with, anything you want to share, anything you want to get off your back, it's a speakeasy night. As I've now discovered, we can share comments and stuff, which is quite clever. Do reach out and do ask us anything, be it tech or music, or maybe not sort of like love life stuff, because I don't see Paul and I being
I'm a bit of an expert at that sort of
stuff.
Type. Dave says you'll laugh before you hear it. You'll want to own it after you hear it. My Fender Princeton Reverb 50 watt ODS. What's the ODS bit?
I don't know.
The ODS bit is little amp. No, I don't think that's. I wouldn't laugh at that. Princeton's awesome. That's a great amp. Yeah. I love that.
It's funny. I've only ever owned one Fender, and I sold it. And it's. I wished I never had. It was the little little valve champ, little tiny thing. And I sold it for about 25 quid, and they're worth about 1,500 now.
Oh damn!
Yeah, crazy little thing. But it sounded so good as well. Sounded really good on bass. You could really crunch it up and.
Yeah. Oh no. Fender amps are great. I mean, I just they don't really work for me, but they don't work because of the mid scoop thing.
I've never been a fan. I've never been a fan of Fender amps other than that one. I've always been a Marshall guy because I like that big, thick, chunky rock and roll noise.
Interesting. Interesting. So, anything else then?
Anything else going down in the real world? Well, nobody wants to hear about my troubles with schools being closed. So please come up with something else to talk about.
Well, show us the new toy you've been sent. Let's have a look at that.
Okay. So back at well remembered actually. Back at NAMM, ODS by the way is Overdrive Special.
Oh, Overdrive
Special. I might have to check that out. That's great.
Overdrive Special. Isn't that funny? That's like the Dumble. The Dumble ODS.
Oh, okay.
That's an Overdrive Special.
Right. So back at NAMM this year, as it is still this year, we saw on the Antelope Audio booth. At this point, full disclosure, I now work with the team at Antelope Audio. We saw the amazing new Galaxy interface. Their 2U Goliath. No, because there is one already called the Goliath. Their behemoth of an interface that I now have here.
Look at that.
Look at the state of that. That is the new Galaxy. It is very, very lovely. Not a lot going on around the front because most of the control of this thing is done in software from the control panel. But around the back, to say they've machine gunned it on this thing.
What's all the... Is it just got like loads of word clock on it? What's going on there?
So we have 64 analog I/O line level I/O over D sub.
Right.
2 Thunderbolt 3 ports. What else we got? AES, SPDIF, MADI, Dante. This is the first time Antelope have put Dante on one of their interfaces, which is really cool, very interesting for me as with my monitoring solution. 4, I would at this point stick my fingers up, but I can't because this thing's quite heavy. 4 HDX mini Digilink ports.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 128 channels of audio over mini Digilink in a 2U interface, by the way. Then you've got word clock in 10M, which is Anteloc's atomic clock solution. Loop sync for Pro Tools HD loop sync solutions. Then 6 word clock outs.
Wow.
Now, what's cool about this thing is everyone goes, oh, 64 channels. Who needs that many? And of course, the answer is Abbey Road, Capitol, pick your big studio. But of course, there aren't many of those left. But the really cool thing is you then start using that as your digital patch bay. So instead of just using it as line level I/O straight into your DAW, you use it as a routing matrix.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which is quite interesting.
So Daniel says, does the Galaxy have a summing mixer?
Yes, of sorts. It's got internal mixers. So think of it as so I've got a video coming out with Antelope on this in a couple of 3 weeks, probably in the new year now. Think of it. Previously, the Antelope stuff had 4 internal mixers, routing mixers, and most people would use those for headphone Q mixes. I have actually been using them for using multiple inputs onto certain channels. So, for example, if you want to route the output from your keyboards all into the same input into your DAW, because you don't need to, if you're only recording one at a time, you don't need to mess around with loads of different inputs and eating up your DAW inputs. You could have them all routed onto 8 or 16 channels of this thing or on one of the interfaces and just route it all into a single stereo pair.
Oh, nice.
And that's what I've been using the mixers for. This thing has, I think it's got 8 internal mix engines. So yeah, it's got 8 internal summing mixes. Awesome. Which could be for foldback or for Q mixes or anything like that, or it could be for just molting signals together, a la summing mixer styley.
Right, nice.
So yeah, it's all in there. It's also got twice as much DSP in the form of what they're called FPGAs and ARM chips. So that's 256 simultaneous. No, 512 simultaneous Synergy Core effects plugins, which is quite a lot.
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
I've been filming with it this afternoon. I'm looking forward to actually doing some proper recording with it before and after Christmas.
Nice.
And I think we'll probably get to play with it, depending on how the 5-day chaos of Christmas affects lockdown status. After that, I think we'll get together and we'll do something pretty epic, because there aren't many of these about at the moment. In fact, there aren't very many at all of these about.
What's the price?
There's no easy way of saying.
Go on.
It's 10,000 quid.
Oh gosh, but mind you, I guess if you were going to buy 64 channels of
if you want to buy 64 channels of
well, even if you bought 64 channel of Apollo, that's
yeah, it's a lot of money.
It's probably more.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, and you've got all the other digital I/O, and it's all internal, and it does sound really, really good.
Okay, excellent.
The messing around I've done with it this afternoon, it sounds so good. The headroom is amazing. It's got a really lovely open top end.
Nice. We've got some questions actually. Hank said,
it's all good.
Is it possible to use a piece of outboard gear in stereo with an Apollo Twin, or would you need more I/O? No, you could if you don't want to record anything else. So in mixdown, you could.
Yeah, because you've got.
Hold on.
Have you got 2 sets of outputs on an Apollo?
I'll have a look. I've got a Twin here. You've got monitor. You've got line outs and you've got monitor outs.
Yeah. And you've got ADAT optical. So if the piece of hardware, or if you've got another ADAT optical mic pre, you could feed it through the 8 optical, so
That's
you
true.
could use it in real time.
You could actually do that, couldn't you?
Um,
Yes, but you couldn't then. Yes, you could. You could use line. So you could still. No. Then you can't record. Then you
No.
can't record. So it's adjusting mix down.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it can be done. Can be done. And if you're building up a mix, if you're running things through a single pass at a time through external hardware, and there's nothing wrong with doing it that way, print it. Job's a good one.
Print. Definitely.
Yeah.
Commit
again.
David Labby says, please talk about audio interfaces, especially about the most latency-free one out there to record DI guitars processed by amp effects plugins. Claret, Universal Audio, Scarlett isn't fast enough. Scarlett isn't fast enough. Yes, probably isn't. RME.
The Antelope stuff is really, really good. Even like the Zen Tour, the little one.
I think there's loads of. I mean, if he's talking about guitars specifically, I think there's loads of guitar players.
He's tried Universal Audio. Has he tried it with Luna?
No,
because
no, he's saying DI guitars processed by amp effects plugins. I imagine that he's got some amp effects plugins that he wants to use as opposed to just the ones that are inside.
Okay.
Inside
you could use them inside Luna though, surely, because it still runs with AUs and
not in
real time. No,
monitoring. You can't. No.
Okay.
Like bias effects. Yeah. So, RME. I would say. I mean, are you Mac or actually? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But Mac or PC. If you're Mac or PC, RME.
It's all to do with the buffer size, though, isn't it? It's all to do with buffer size. You're not going to get a reliable latency-free solution at 1024 samples. You will at 32.
Yeah,
I can't at 32 samples.
No, but I think it's a bit more than that. I tell you what, I was really impressed with was the if you're on a bit more of a budget, was the Presonus Quantum.
Mm-hmm.
That's really fast, and that's PC compatible. It's Thunderbolt. So I think that's your thing. I think you want to go Thunderbolt if you want to do that sort of. If you want to feel like there's no discernible latency with the with the pick and the strings, it's got to be Thunderbolt or USB. I mean, possibly USB 3.
There's very little between USB 3 and Thunderbolt these days, isn't there?
Okay.
Yeah, not much in it at all. And also it's down to drivers, down to the company's drivers, as in the software drivers, nothing to do with how it got to you. RME's drivers are exceptional and always have been. So a Babyface, something tiny would work if you don't
Babyface FS.
A ton of IO, a Babyface FS would be a great solution. I've used them and I've gone. I had one on demo for Production Expert for a while and loved it. Great little unit. I really like those little 2-in, 2-out interfaces for just getting stuff done, because it's so simple. Usually it's just plug it in, go. Plug it in, go. The audience stuff is great for that. Just like the new what's it called? The new audience stuff, the Evo stuff. 99 quid for a really nice 2-in, 2-out. Plug a guitar in, go. Plug bass in, go. Just make music. I appreciate that you might be put off by the price point, but they're worth trying. These things are really good, and the drivers are bomb-proof.
The RME stuff's not cheap, is it?
No. So I would check out the Audient Evo range or the ID range if you've got a bit more cash to throw at it.
Nice.
Really nice units.
Good choice. Rex says, guilty pleasure, Roland VS880. Little channel hard disk recorder. Yeah. I've got a friend of mine actually who's there's one. Well, I haven't spoken to him for a while actually. We did speak at the beginning of the first lockdown. And he still uses his VS880 with the reverb, yeah. But
wow.
Shocking. I mean, you can't. I remember like editing, like it's by numbers, it's like shocking.
By guesswork,
it's almost like it's harder than cutting up tape.
Mm.
Where are we? Thanks for the info. Like bias effects, yeah.
I like bias effects as well.
Yeah.
The one that I really like, and I've forgotten what it's called now. Is it THD? Is that a? I'm sure
Yeah,
that's.
I think there is a THD. What the amp sim?
The amp sim, yeah, really, really good. I was really impressed. I did a piece for Production Expert a couple of years ago, and about guitar amp sims, and I'll be totally candid. I hated the Helix, but I think I've already said why. Because all the cabinet responses are mic'd up with the mic dead center of the cone, which is never where you would put the microphone.
Surely you can move it though.
No, you can't, because they're actually done. You can virtually move it, but they're still made with the mic bang in the middle of the cone.
Oh, that's interesting.
When you if you take off the the cab model, and you use something like the 11 rack cab model, or the 11 cab model, it just goes, oh, this is better. It sounds like a guitar again.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Whereas the THD stuff and bias effects, I went, I like this. This just sounds like a guitar from the word go.
Yeah, nice one.
The only thing I will say though, and the reason I like real amps over lots of guitar sims, is that, and this is not my discovery first. It's a Tim Pierce thing. When you start stacking up lots of fake guitar parts, and by that I mean amp sims, that's when you start to come unstuck.
Without doubt.
To hear the fizziness and the artificiality, if that's a real word.
I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more with you.
Whereas amps, stack them up till the cows come home, and it still works.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Overloud THU, that's the one. Thank you, David.
Yes, that was it. Yes, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more with you. And funny enough, there was I've done a video, or I shot a video today with the Positive Grid Spark.
Yeah,
and if you hear it, if you can hear it in the video, but there's a sound that comes from one of the overdrive pedal emulations that it's almost layered. You can hear the different layers of, okay, there's a bit of processing and there's a bit of noise, and underneath there's something. You can sort of hear the different layers of it. It's really weird. And yeah, you don't get that with analog stuff.
You get, when they say, oh, we've emulated the tone cry and the cab cry and the speaker breakup, I just stick a microphone on it and get that for real.
Oh, I think the aux box and those the two notes.
Yes.
And that, I think they do a really great job. But I think the initial thing is get the amp, and then, or even use that and then have a microphone on an amp just to get a different sound. If you've got one amplifier and you've got like a load box, use the load box, and then actually get if you're doing a different guitar part, use a mic just to get different sounds and stuff. Completely. Oh yeah. So hold on a sec. We've got to say hello to Tim Gibbs. Tim Gibbs from Australia. He's back. Hi, Tim.
Great to see you. Low fat. The Neural DSP Quad Cortex does look immense. I phoned them this week again to say, where is mine? And they said there has been a hold up in QC with Neural.
QC.
Quality control.
Yeah.
So they're due in early in the new year.
I saw the
first.
So yeah, James and I, we tried it out at NAMM, and I was pretty unimpressed with it. But I found out there was only one amplifier that they had on the model, and it was the latency was for me was a bit shocking. But it's not going to have any of those issues. We know it's going to be amazing. No. It's going to be bang on.
What's interesting is that all the major retailers in the UK and Europe that I've gone, oh sod this, someone else must have one. They haven't. They're all on week waiting list.
Yeah, definitely.
Apparently, Guitar got about 8 in, which went to fill out to almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
But yeah, the quad cortex. I think we'll make 1 or 2 videos on that thing.
Yeah,
like about 50.
Yeah, that's going to be a load of videos on that. Did you know models you can do your own like your Kemper profile?
Yes.
You can profile. Yeah. You can not only profile amps, but you can profile pedals as well.
Yes, and I thought that was really cool because then if you've got your own sounds, you can just.
That's great, isn't it?
Yes, I'm looking forward to playing around with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and have you seen? You're talking about like mic positions on speakers, like the way that they've done the interface. It's just so simple. The way that you just move stuff around. I mean, it's really.
It looks very almost childish. The blocks and everything and how it's designed. But I'm a simple guy, really, and I like drop that there. I don't need to see glowing valves or anything like that. I need to know it's going to sound good and work well. That works for me.
Yeah, no, I think it's really exciting. It's really exciting. Tim said, as far as emulated sounds go, thoughts on Guitar Rig 6? I haven't tried it actually.
I haven't tried
Guitar Rig since
2.
Do
you remember the blue? Do you remember the one they did with the blue pedal? And it wasn't USB, and it actually used part of the stereo signal with a control tone on it. And if you press the button, it actually sent a tone down the audio stream.
I had the actual Guitar Rig pedal.
Yeah,
an interface. It was an audio interface.
Before that, they did a blue one.
Oh, I don't remember that.
2 pedals and a continuous a controller on it.
Yeah,
and it didn't actually send MIDI; it sent tone. And the tone, you had a stereo cable.
Yeah.
Plugged the guitar into the foot switch type thing, and then you had a stereo cable that went to your audio interface, sound cardy type thing on your laptop or whatever. And one channel of the stereo was the guitar signal, and on the other side was the control signal, which changed your patches and did the volume and things like that. And it did it over this really weird, bizarre controller tone thing. It was a very, very early version of Guitar Rig. It was rubbish.
Let's have a look. Where do we get to? Thoughts of Guitar Rig 6. Dave Lewis says the big difference is that sim tones don't push air like real amp cabs do.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think there's a definite. I mean, they sound great. For me, it's more like a feel thing. I think it's like the immediate touch response you get from I think they all sound good now. As James said, whether they do when you stack everything up.
I think there's nothing wrong with using if you've got parts that are really spread out, like the rhythm guitar part that's well back in the mix. There's nothing wrong with faking it with some sims or whatever. But that lead solo that's right up in your face, use an amp if you can.
But there is a skill about recording an amp. There's a difference, isn't there? There's a it's easy to plug into a lead into an interface and hear that, but the sound you get when you plug into an amp is very different to the sound you get when you plug into an amp and then put a mic in front of it, isn't it? So yeah, that's the skill. And
we're quite lucky. In fact, we're very lucky that we have the ability to be able to crank up X amps and not offend the world.
Yeah. Well, I pretty much offend everybody when I start playing, but.
Well, have you seen the video of Steve Lukather?
No, which one?
Oh, that's a great video. I'm not. I don't know the backstory.
Oh, in his garden,
where he goes out and plays in his garden, and it closes with "Good morning." Yeah, nicely done, Steve. Yeah,
I wouldn't mind him playing it.
He could play. Yeah, Wake Me Up quite happily. That'd be great.
Yeah. Ooh, that sounds a bit wrong, mate.
Well, he's a regular listener on the show. We'll invite him on.
Is the Katana 100 Mark II with GAFC let FX like delay reverb bring out? Oh, I see. Does it when changing presets or enabling? That's a good question. Does it have carryover? Carry over? Is that the right word?
As in, do the effects go past the?
Yeah, if you got a delay, does the delay ring out when you change patch? I don't know actually.
I've never checked. I'm going to go with probably not.
I think probably not,
because that's quite an advanced thing for a thing that's like 400-500 quid.
What time is it? I was thinking I could rig it up and find it out.
I can't think of any effects that do that.
Oh yeah, loads.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Kemper does it, presumably.
Kemper does it. The Boss GT. I mean, okay. Helix will do that. Helix will do that. Yeah.
I'm going to go with. I don't think the Katana does, but it's worth checking.
I'll tell you what, David. I will check for you over the next couple of days. If we have more time, I'll check now. But we're running a bit late. And James has yawned about 5 times.
I've had one of that. I've been, excuse me, going to bed about 1 o'clock and getting up at 6.
Yeah.
Because we're having school issues, and I promise I won't bore anybody with it. But oh god, it's hard work at the minute. Yeah, but I think that's an interesting one. And I'm sorry, I don't mean I'm not that you're boring me, mate. But
I don't mind. It's all right. We need to get you need to get to bed for Steve Lukather to wake you up, didn't you?
Woohoo! Is it Friday already?
Talkie Online. Oh, you can't forget it's Wednesday, mate. It's the best day of the week.
Yeah. Why did we do this on a Wednesday? Because don't people refer to Wednesdays as Hump Day?
Is it?
Yeah, it's like the middle of the week. Everyone's maybe we're the antidote to Hump Day. Oh, there we go again.
Wrong. So wrong.
Very wrong.
Well, we're coming up to time.
We are.
If got any more, we don't mind sort of going on a little bit extra if anyone's got any extra questions. And
I feel like it's been a bit of a you and me show tonight. But I suppose that's not an unusual thing these days.
It's all right. Hey, I was thinking because everyone loves a bit of Jack.
Yeah.
Jack Duxbury. Thinking of just putting it out there to Jack whenever he wants to join us. He can just sort of come on and sort of join us whenever. And if there's a guest and stuff. Talking about guests, maybe we should get Matt on.
We should get Matt on it.
Onions.
Yes. Fancy that, Matt? What are we doing next week for the Christmas special? He's gone quiet now.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
I don't know what. To be fair, I don't know what the delay is on comments coming through the system. So
Matt said sure. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
All right, I'll reach out this week to Matt and we'll get him on next week as long as you've got a Christmas hat, then it's all good.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I'll bring one. I've got one somewhere.
Well, you're gonna pass it to him.
Huh?
You're gonna pass it to him. Yeah, that'd be great. We'll have Matt on next week. You heard it here first. For the Christmas, the Studio Rats Christmas party. the virtual Christmas party.
It's going to be kicking. I might have a beer next week.
Oh, that's a good idea. Can you FedEx me the hat?
FedEx me the hat, yeah. Right, yeah. If there's any other questions, get them in the next 30 seconds. Because so are we up to tomorrow? Which
it's very exciting tomorrow.
Yeah.
So as part of Operation Move the Jivies, we need to go and find a house, and I'm going to see houses tomorrow.
Nice.
Up in the countryside. Well, actually, they don't speak like that in this countryside. They speak more like that, innit? Yeah.
So what sort of area?
North of London.
Yeah.
The sort of Essex, Hertfordshire borders.
The flatlands.
The flatlands of deepest, darkest East Anglia ish.
Is it?
Yeah, it's kind of flat and nice, and it's actually quite close to places like Stansted Airport and stuff. Not close enough that I had issues with flyover or anything like that.
Do you know, I've got a friend. You know Mike Barnes.
I do.
Mike. Yep. Mike lives in the Fens.
He lives in Fenstanton.
He does live in Fenstanton, yeah. And he always talks about the shug monkey, which is this apparently the beast that roams the Fens. So you've got to watch out for that.
It's not the Fens, mate. I mean, I'm well south of the Fens where I'm looking. I'm in the I think it's the Essex Wolds technically.
Oh, that sounds posh.
It would be, yes, but so I've seen a couple of houses. One that is very, very promising and looks like it could be the next. Well, put it like this: there's space for Studio Mark III.
Nice.
Which would be very interesting.
Yeah, nice.
So quite great. And I've got this thing to play with and a load of other stuff going on, which is all good. Yep. And just trying to wrap everything up before Christmas.
Nice.
Really?
Nice.
Yes. Okay, how about yourself? What are you up
to? Content. Getting some more content done. Oh no, there's an exciting new product coming out.
Ooh.
Which obviously I've had to sign NDA, and that comes out in January the 15th, I think. So around sort of what would have been NAMM time. Mm-hmm. I personally think that this thing would be like a bit of a show stealer, showstopper, an award winner for NAMM. I think it's going to be good.
Speaking of award winners, anyone who loves all things McDSP APB, they have been nominated for a tech award, I think.
Oh, nice.
And a few other things. So it really makes a difference. If you're the sort of person like us who belongs to all the Facebook groups of all these and on the mailing lists and things for all these manufacturers, do please vote for them if you like the gear, if you like the people or whatever. I mean, everyone knows the voting for these things is very political, and it's not quite to the same level as Eurovision yet, but it's not far off. But if you do have an opinion on these things, or if you have a favorite brand that you like to support, please do vote for all these things. It really does make a difference. I heard the other day, so I'm another one of my guilty pleasures. My guilty pleasure TV moment is I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. I really do. It's the only one of those kind of. It's the only one of those kind of fly on the wall kind of, I'm a Z-lister, restart my career type things that I really like. And apparently there was thousands in it between the winner and the runner-up this year, as opposed to tens of thousands of votes this year.
Who won?
It was Giovanna Fletcher. Tom Fletcher, as in lead guitarist and songwriter with McFly, McBusted. His wife, who is a podcaster and journalist and mum.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she was brilliant, actually. She was really good, well deserved. But the second place guy was Jordan North, who is from Radio 1.
Oh, yeah.
He was very funny, great value all the way through. And apparently there was thousands in it, not tens of thousands like there often is.
Oh, awesome.
And when you think of the popular reach of that show, epic.
Yeah, it's a big old show.
Yes. Cool. Well, we've whittled on enough, I think. Thanks for joining us, everyone. So next week, you heard it here first, Matt Boudreau of Working Class Audio will be with us. And Paul and I can shut up, and Matt can tell us about all the cool people he's interviewed. Including we're alumni. We're alums, aren't we? We've both been on it.
Oh, on the show. Sorry, I thought you were still talking about. Yes, very true. This is very true.
We can Working Class Audio it up.
Okay, just Paul. Just last question from Paul Leopard. Here they come. They're all coming now. I've ordered a Harley Benton Warlock style bass. A Warlock, well, like a BC Rich Warlock. Awesome. Awesome. Do you remember them? Let me just have a quick look, because I've got to see if it is. The
guitarist I played with had a Batwing, a BC Rich Batwing, and it was so wrong.
Hold on, it can't be the same as.
I'll tell you what, Matt's on fire. Hang on, no, sorry, wrong one. There's my link.
Is it the same?
There's my link.
I've got BC Rich Warlock, but I can't see the Harley Benton Warlock.
And there,
what's going on?
There's the link. Well, I'm just sharing the link to our Working Class Audio interviews with Matt.
Oh, look at that!
Look at that. Matt is on fire.
Oh, Matt's on fire.
Yeah, it's a copy of a Warlock for 115 quid, says Paul.
Oh, awesome.
The first thing
awesome.
The first thing I would do to that is, if you can brave the embarrassment, Paul, is take it to someone who does setups, take it to someone who like a guitar tech, and get them to set it up. Because what will appear on the doorstep from our friends at Thomann in Germany will be practically unplayable. But a good guitar tech will set that up so you can actually have some fun with it.
I've heard some really good things about those Harley Bentons.
And some really bad things as well.
Oh, really? Have you? Oh, okay. Well, for 115 quid.
Exactly. But it's worth 30 quid to get it set up.
See, what you got to do,
as
soon as you've got that, you just got to play Wasp songs. I'm not going to say which one because we won't be able to monetize this.
We won't. I already know which one you're going to say.
Yes, my first ever gig that was.
Oh dear.
Actually, second ever gig, but yeah.
And Napalm Death as well was another one of.
You saw Napalm Death?
No, as in we used to do Napalm Death covers.
What? Did they have a song? Like I think the only song that I ever knew that was, didn't they do Scum?
And there was another one that starts with an F and ends in a K.
Oh, okay. Yeah, nice. Oh, Paul, I want to see a picture of that next week. You've got to send us a picture.
Yes. Yeah, and actually, I think you can upload pictures into the comments, and then I can show them. How cool is that? That's very cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna, quite frankly, if the excitement level drops, I'm gonna crash. So I think it's time for us to pull up stumps and all that sort of stuff. That's a terribly English term, isn't it? I'm gonna pull up stumps.
I like it.
Cricketing term.
Yeah. Well, cricket. I miss cricket.
I miss cricket. I mean, the best thing about cricket though is that once you're out, because I was a left-handed, right-handed batsman. Once you're out, it's back to the bar and
get on it.
Yeah,
get in on it. Absolutely.
One nice thing about this new house, the house that is going to be mine that they don't know yet.
Yeah,
it overlooks the village green.
Oh, nice. That's what you want.
So good.
Yeah. Our
anyway,
Cranley's great.
Yes, because you've got Eric Clapton as a member.
That's one reason. I haven't seen him play actually, but I know they do a charity match sometimes. It was Eric Clapton, Ringo Starr. Who else?
These are Paul's neighbours, by the way.
Oh yeah, he like lives next door. Lives next door. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. That was a. Yeah. Oh, do you know? Have I told you that? So we're getting into this is like. Before Eric Clapton does his Albert Hall gigs,
Albert
Hall, he rehearses literally in the village hall. So in the village, I know it's crazy. So what I do, I go and have a coffee in the village hall because it's like an arts. It's not a village hall. It's the arts centre.
Right.
It's it's a really lovely old building that's got like a concert hall.
Right.
In it. So yeah, when he's rehearsing, I just go up there, just order a cup of coffee, and just sit
there
and
enjoy the gig.
Well, yeah, you can't see it, but you just listen to it. It's great. Yeah, and all the whole band are there. It's great.
Amazing.
Anyway,
on that moment of absolute gig lust, rehearsal envy. Oh, rehearsals! I never thought I'd say I miss rehearsals. It is time for us to go. Thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you next week with our guest, Matt Boudreau. You heard it here first.
Awesome.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
Good night, guys.